Hey, I'm here this time. Sorry, I was trying to do it the way to get the 24-hour channel up and everything, and it was acting weird. So I bagged that idea, tried it another way. That didn't work, and now we're going old school because we have a new warning out there. Yes, I'm here to stay this time, so don't worry, I'm not going to disappear. So we have a new severe thunderstorm warning, and let me pull up the specifics on this one. Alrighty. This was as of 8:40 p.m. This includes parts of, for our area, Natchitoches and Sabine Parish. It's 8:40 p.m. Severe thunderstorms were located along a line from near Mansfield to 6 miles north of Rose Vine, not Rose Pine, or along a line from near Mansfield to 23 miles southeast of Center, moving east at 60. That is Holland. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and small hail are possible. Let's put this into motion. This is just kind of an extension downstream of that last warning. So you can see that this thing's moving quickly. I mean, it's surged through northern Sabine Parish now. If you are on the backside of this, like if you're up here around Converse, you're looking pretty good right now. It looks like your severe threat is going to be going away. But Zwolle, you're getting into it right now. Provençal, Natchitoches, you are down the line from this one. And that warning does include those areas. So if you're in Campty, Natchitoches, Provençal, any of those areas, you are downstream of this one. And this storm is looking pretty healthy right now. It looks like mainly a wind threat out of this one. And you can see that wind surge coming through there. But when you get these windy storms like that, you start to see things like I just saw there. You know, you could get a brief circulation to pop up with this. As it stands right now, I think that threat's pretty low. I'm not too concerned about that, but it is something we are going to be watching as these storms continue on through the area. Also wanting to check to see where that warm front is right now. Just taking a look here. Looks like we have ticked up to 63 on the dew point in the last 10 minutes here in Alexandria. So that could be a sign that that front is moving back to the north. If that jumps a couple more degrees, we will know that's the case. For right now, though, nothing severe out ahead of the main line. It's all along this basically this squall line from Sabine and Natchitoches Parish up to Red River, and then back down into Sabine County, Texas, and San Augustine County. And this is going to continue to move quickly toward the east. The individual cells are moving toward the northeast, but you can see down here on the southern end of this line, they do become a little more cellular. And while that's good because some of you would miss the severe threat altogether, when they are more cellular like that, you can get a little higher threat for a spin-up tornado. And so I'm going to go down to Lake Charles on the radar and see what we have going on these cells right here. Had a warning earlier on one that completely fizzled out. So as these continue to kind of push away from that upward forcing here in the southern area where it's going to be a little weaker, we're losing some steam on some of those storms. So showers continuing to have a little struggle as you get closer to the coast. And these showers here, I don't even think we're seeing any lightning out of these. Hold on, let me check. I see lightning up on the Natchitoches camera up there, that's for sure. Man, it looks like we are really down on the lightning here, which is good. I mean, that means that the storms would be weakening. So yeah, we're down to about 1,100. We were at 1,650 about an hour ago. So that's some good news. Let's go over the last hour and see what this looks like. We did pop up to around 1,800 and now down to 1,000 or 1,100. That's a good trend. I like to see that. That is pretty significant here. As these storms continue to push on toward the east. Let me go ahead and, you know what I want to do is move that Natchitoches camera. I still have that facing the direction where we were trying to look at meteors and stuff. So I'm going to put this back toward the northwest, and that'll have the Sibley Lake view, and that'll probably show us a lot more lightning out of that cell. So this thing's going to move up here, and you will see more action going on, although we're already seeing some. So this is what we're looking at on radar right now. New warning right here for Natchitoches and Sabine Parish until 9:30. That is... let's go in about 37 more minutes. Converse, you're looking good. You're actually kind of out of it now. You can see that line has pushed on through. You're still hearing the thunder, still have some rainfall, but I think this is going to push through, and you're probably one of the only people I can say that your severe threat's pretty much over with here. Sulphur, you're pretty far down south, and with how these storms have kind of been behaving down here, you could get an isolated cell out of this, but I don't think the severe threat's going to be very high for you. And you just saw, there it goes. That camera just did move. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Toledo Bend camera, because that thing is facing kind of toward the west right now. Looks like it got a little kind of hazy out there on this. I think the focus was messed up with all the lightning and then the lights under the bridge and everything. But yeah, that thing, I'm going to do one little trick and see if this works. But you can clearly see there's some lightning flashing out there. All right, so what I'm going to do is zoom in Sometimes if you zoom and you zoom back out, it refocuses. It's all very technical what I do here. I don't think it's going to work. I'll move the camera a little bit. I'm going to get it out of those lights, see if that helps us. But it's not the end of the world. I mean, all we're going to see is lightning out of that one. So severe thunderstorm warning, if you're just joining us, that is for Sabine and Natchitoches Parish. I have the Natchitoches camera up here, and you can still see the Toledo Bend camera moving, me trying my wizardry right there, and it did not pan out for us. Let's look at the latest future track here on the HRRR model. And let me pull this up, and we will zip on through it. So again, isolated cells, finally it looks like it's allowing for the fact that these aren't going to develop. It really loves the northern half of this line and really chews up the southern half. So maybe we get to go to bed a little earlier than we thought tonight. Let's not get our hopes up, but we still have that tornado watch until 1. You can see that last run of the HRRR really showed a lot of weakening out of this thing. And a lot of those cells would be north of the warm front. Oh, you're gonna hear my cat yelling now, because that's just that's how we do it around here. You never know what's gonna happen. Tornado watch until 1 o'clock. I don't know why some of these Texas counties are still in there. Like if you're watching from Carthage, go to bed. Henderson, you're good. But we still have that severe threat out ahead of this main line, and that is right now charging into western Natchitoches Parish and Sabine Parish as well. Let's go ahead and pull up velocity though, because I see a little curly Q there southwest of Manny, and sometimes that's nothing, and sometimes it's something you want to look at. Oh, I have that set at 2 hours. We don't want that. So I'm going to see how this is evolving right here. And yeah, I don't see anything that's really saying, hey, there's a circulation here. But that wind surge is clearly evident. You can see how the reds and greens kind of get together up there around Pleasant Hill. But no clear circulation out of any of this stuff. Nothing that's saying, hey, there's a tornado that's going to be imminent out of this. So back to reflectivity. You can see that Boeing segment right there. If you can't see it, there you go, I'll draw it. Boom, right there. So that's where your big wind gust is going to be, and there we do have a tornado warning that just popped. So let's go ahead, and maybe they were seeing this a little different. So, all right, new tornado warning. This is going to be for parts of Natchitoches, and it looks like extreme northeastern Sabine Parish. And it's going to be right up in that area that I was mentioning where we had the reds and greens coming together. So let's see what we've got here. That's what they're looking at. Now, that's not a slam dunk tornado on the ground or anything like that, but there is a tornado warning. I'm going to pull up the latest on this one and see what Shreveport is saying about this. But if you're in Pleasant Hill, Ajax, King Hill, Lake End, that area, you're going to want to seek shelter on this one, because even if it's not the strongest signature I've ever seen, we don't want to play games with this kind of stuff. So let's go ahead, pull this up on the Shreveport data feed. Okay, so a tornado warning for southeastern, now this is extreme southeastern DeSoto, extreme northeastern Sabine, and then a chunk of southeastern Red River and northwestern Natchitoches Parish. This is as of 8:56. So a tornado was located, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 13 miles east of Converse or 19 miles southeast of Mansfield, moving east at 30. So that's slower than that whole line was moving. This is... Okay, locations impacted include Campty, Allen, Pleasant Hill, Powhatan, Lake End, Hanna, and Ajax. So if you're up there, I think that would be probably around milepost like 150 to 170 in that area of northern Natchitoches Parish, and as you head on into DeSoto Parish. So that tornado warning goes until 9:45. So that goes out for 47 minutes. Let me look and see what they're discussing, my friends up there in Shreveport. They're watching the circulation. Looks like this is bad velocity data, as there's no high... Okay, technical stuff you don't care about. But that right there, you can see that this is the area that they have warned. And you can see the lightning from that up on the Natchitoches camera. Let me show you where exactly, just to make sure. You know, I don't want to act like everyone's a meteorologist here, but there's your circulation. They're right in that area, just over or just east of Pleasant Hill in extreme northeastern Sabine Parish. That's where we're seeing this right now. So tornado warning that includes areas like Campty, Fairview, Alpha, Powhatan, Allen, Ajax. This is going to cross 49 probably in about 10-15 minutes. So any sort of travel between Natchitoches and Shreveport, not a good idea right now. If you're in Natchitoches, this warning does not include you, but you have that severe thunderstorm warning. And this is what I was saying. We can see these things kind of get spun up quickly on these. I thought I blacked out there. That was one of the cameras. But you can see these things spin up quickly, and that's what we're seeing here. And hopefully this is not something that actually touches the ground. I don't see any sort of signature on the Fort Polk or hopefully Shreveport radar. Not really seeing anything that looks like it would be on the ground here, but this could possibly happen fairly quickly. So if you are in Ajax near I-49, if you're east of Pleasant Hill, I would say Pleasant Hill, you're not in the clear, but it looks like that circulation is pretty much overhead or just east of you. So if anything's happening, it will happen very, very shortly. Let me pull up correlation coefficient, see if we got another. I'm just going to put it in motion too. Actually, I'm going to toggle it. Yeah, I don't believe I'm seeing anything there. That's a little suspect. But it looks like that's out ahead of it. But you can see how it gets kind of funky on the velocity data there. So if you are near Ajax, near I-49, go ahead and seek shelter. I mean, that's what I'm going to need you to do right now, if at all possible. So this is kind of the big game in town right now, and let's see, the cyclonic couplet is what we're looking at in that storm, not the anticyclonic couplet slightly downstream. So yeah, so that's what I was just saying. So this is what they're looking at right here, and not the one just downstream of it. Let's go back to the Fort Polk radar. And yeah, it's a pretty good representation, and this is where I think it is, just southwest of Ajax, if there is something on the ground. And per the Fort Polk radar, not seeing anything on the ground or not seeing damage. Now remember, we're not going to see it here until a tornado's throwing trees up in the air, roof shingles or whatever. So that's what we're spotting. That's a diagnostic tool. That's not a predictive tool. So we're not seeing what is happening right now necessarily on that. That's the last few minutes. So if a tornado does touch down, then we will see it, but you can't see it on the correlation coefficient until it does touch down. Somebody sent me stars. Thank you, Rusty. I appreciate it. So I'll put this in motion. We'll do this with both radars because I'm going to stick around here anytime we have a tornado warning. And this one's southwest of Ajax right there. That's what we're looking at. This is the circulation. Looks like it's coming together a little bit better right now. Looks better than it did even when they issued the warning. So that's not great news right there. And here you go from the Shreveport radar. Right near Ajax. That's where the worst of this thing is. Looking at everything here. You know how it goes. I'll get quiet for a second from time to time. Pulling up radar scope because I like checking it too. Sometimes gives me a little different idea of what's going on. And yeah, I see exactly why they warned it. I don't see any confirmation of this thing being on the ground. But that area right there in extreme northeastern Sabine Parish, crossing into Natchitoches Parish, right near Ajax, that's what we're looking at right now. Let me pull this out, look at the big view, go back to the Fort Polk radar, and yeah, so we have our tornado warning going until 9:45 p.m. We have the severe thunderstorm warning until 9:30. That's a much larger area. That's what Natchitoches is in right now. Natchitoches, Manny, Zwolle, you're in this severe thunderstorm warning. They'll start to trim this back. And like I said, I think, Pleasant Hill, if you're in... Like if you're back here, I don't want to get too cute with it, but if you're back here in if you're in downtown Pleasant Hill, Antioch Church Road, Moffett Lane, you're pretty much cleared out of this. This is going to be more over toward Lyle Walker Road, Parish Road, Allen Beulah Road, Durr School Spur. That area is what we're looking at for the highest chance for this thing to sit down and possibly cause some damage. So, whoops, went the wrong way. Just going to keep going back and forth between radars. Haven't even looked at Lake Charles. Yeah, it's too high up to see anything. Figured it would be. But yeah, southwest of Ajax, that's where things are looking a little dicey right now. And that'll cross 49 here probably in about 5-10 minutes. And downstream, down the line, this one's going to stay north of Natchitoches. That doesn't mean you're in the clear by any stretch. You have a severe thunderstorm warning, but it looks like the worst of this cell is going to stay to your north. yeah, talking about the line going through the I-20 corridors weakened a good bit. So that's good. That's up north of the front. This one is along the front, basically. So when they run along the front like that, you can see an extra little spin to these. That front is pushing slightly to the north. Let me take a look at Natchitoches right now, just to see exactly where where they are with respect to their dew point and all that good stuff. So Natchitoches at last check. So the dew point there is only 60 in town. That's good. I mean, and this is north of you. So what I'm hoping here is that low-level circulation is spinning maybe 1,000, 2,000 feet up. But because there's a stable layer near the ground, I'm hoping that that's not touching down. And I'm just looking to see my camera's view of everything here. Yeah, dew points at 59 at Turpin Stadium. So when we see dew points in the upper 50s to near 60, that's good news. So that means that most likely this hopefully is elevated. Now I'm watching it closely because that is a pretty good radar signature, but we're looking right here at 2,500 feet above ground level. So it's entirely possible we're seeing a circulation there, but it's not making it all the way to the ground. Now, as I say that, I want to go and look at the correlation coefficient. Still not seeing any clear signature of anything on the ground, nothing even really looking iffy on that. Yeah, so the hope is here that this is being north of that front. The hope is that the chance for this actually being a tornado on the ground is very low. And just given basic meteorology, typically when you see the dew point that low in a setup like this, the chance is going to be pretty low. Now, the southern end here, like I'll be watching that surge right there northwest of Hemphill moving toward Florine. Looks like some gusty wind there. On the south end of this, I could see a warning coming out perhaps a little further south down here to include parts of southern Sabine and Natchitoches, or I'm sorry, and Vernon Parish. But for right now, tornado warning going on. Possible that the circulation did briefly develop. All right. They're still watching, but the trends are positive. So if we see this continue to trend this way, we might get to see that tornado warning go away early. So let's go in there right now. If you're down the stream in Campty here, if you're watching this, I want you to be ready to seek shelter, but hopefully you won't have to, because again, I don't want to sit here and freak you out for no reason. This is not one of those storms where I see a very clear rotation signature that's really tight. This is something that looks more almost convergent right now, and I think again, with this being north of that front, that it's possible that it could have briefly touched down. But what I'm hoping is that stable layer near the surface with temperatures most likely around 60 degrees, maybe upper 50s, I'm hoping that did not make it all the way down. Of course I am. I mean, that's what we do here. Let me go ahead. I'll just quickly pull up the Natchitoches camera because we've got some lightning popping on that. And that's the one that's 2 above my head here. And no, I don't have, I got to pull that up. I've actually got to work with this to get the tokens back there that have the actual, that show temperature, dew point, and all that stuff. It's always a work in progress, you know. So yeah, but lightning popping. You can see the clouds pretty thick out there, visibility kind of low, and hopefully when I go back here in a couple of minutes, it's going to say that we don't have any sort of issue with, with the tornado warning continuing. I'm going to take a look at power outages as well. So 300 in Rapides Parish. We haven't had anything here. I don't know what happened there. Nothing in Natchitoches Parish. That's good news, but this lags about 15 minutes, so we wouldn't see it right away if something had happened. I'm going to go back to radar because we do have an active tornado warning, or did. Yes, we still do. This is the warning that is now pretty much in effect. I would say if you're in northeastern Sabine, or if you're in this little part of the DeSoto Parish, part of the watch, it's all to your east now. And I think what they're waiting to do is see if they might just cancel this early. So hopefully that'll be the case. And we'll be watching for that red blob to disappear, or that red polygon to disappear. Putting things in motion right now and spreading it out for the big picture here. Thunderstorms weakening along I-20. That's because those are well north of the cold front, and they don't have a ton of instability. Looks like some heavy rain near Monroe. They're getting just to the northwest of Monroe. Pretty decent cell up there. But this is what we're going to be watching as this moves from west to east across central Louisiana. This is mainly going to impact the northern half of the area. So if you're down in Beauregard Parish, I'll be watching for some isolated stuff to possibly fill in for Beauregard and Allen, but I think think most of this action is going to stay north of a Leesville to Alexandria line the way it's looking. So that would mean Plainview. Yeah, I just saw that. You could be a little bit south of it, but I can't rule out something forming back here. So certainly things that I'm going to be keeping an eye on over the next few hours. So no, I mean, if right now it looks like the highest threat for a new warning would be down here with this cell. So southern Sabine into northwestern Vernon Parish, we could see that. We could see a warning go there, but let me pull up velocity and just check everything and see if I see anything. See, this is kind of curious right here, a little wind surge that's going to be moving close to the camera site there at Toledo Bend. I'll be watching that. But the circulation with the tornado warning is looking pretty peaked right now. So that is good news. We don't want to see tornadoes, and if we do, we want them to be out in the middle of nowhere where nobody's going to be impacted by it. I'll put this in motion. This is where we saw, you can see right near Pleasant Hill, things did pulse up pretty quickly, and then it's a much different signature now. So I could see them possibly taking that warning down here shortly. And that's what they're discussing, so we will we'll have to see. I'm going to go over to the Lake Charles chat and see if I'm missing anything here. Nothing doing. That's good. We like quiet chats. So squall line continuing to push toward the east. If you're up around Shreveport, the worst is behind you. And then they're issuing a special weather statement on that southern one. Okay, that was what I just saw pop up. So no warning on that. That's good news. I was expecting the possibility of a warning there. So what they're seeing, no, it's not worth a warning right now. But again, if you're in Pleasant Hill, this one has cleared you. You're probably still seeing that tornado warning in effect, but I don't know if they're going to trim the warning or if they're going to cut that thing out altogether. But again, downstream toward Campty, I'd plan on the potential for some isolated straight line wind damage, but it looks like that circulation has greatly weakened here over the last few scans. And you still see it, still see the red and green coming together, but it does not look as crazy as it was when they had issued that tornado warning. So that's what's going on right now. I'm going to stick with it until the warning is gone. Let me pull this up and actually go over and take a look. I do like to have it live whenever they pop that thing off and it just disappears because it makes me feel good inside. But let's go to the Toledo Bend camera that's facing a little more toward the west right now. And again, we are still seeing, so you can see it's kind of like the focus is a little bit out. And that happens sometimes at night, especially when you have these big lightning shows like this. So this we're going to see a lot of lightning here as this next wave of rain and activity comes in toward Toledo Bend. Obviously, that lightning strike was pretty darn close. But yeah, the nice thing, and what I think we're seeing on that Natchitoches storm is the fact that they're a little bit north of the front, and that might have been what kind of saved the day on that one. And that's why I'm thinking, well, they trimmed back the tornado warning, so they kept that active for now. For Campty, we'll be watching it, but they trimmed Pleasant Hill out of that, and back into southeastern DeSoto Parish, you are now out of that warning as well. Yeah, they canceled it for southeastern DeSoto and northeastern Sabine parishes. But they're keeping it going just because there is still a broad circulation in here. And let's look right in here, right around Lake End, crossing, I believe that's the Red right there. Yeah, right? Red River. Okay, so it's about to cross the Red River and has crossed 49, heading towards 71, toward Fairview, between Fairview and Campty. Those locations, that's where this broad circulation is heading right now. Again, it's north of the front, so dew point's right up here. Let me just pull that up really quick. With dew points in the like 60-degree range, that's good. That means that the surface-based instability is likely not terribly strong. It's cooler temperatures right now in those spots, 61. You want to see 70 over 68 this time of night, or 76 over 72 to see a tornado develop. 61 over 60 typically is not going to make it happen, and hopefully I will be proven right here. Let's see. Rotation remains broad, but they're going to keep the warning going for the time being. Got to be cautious. I mean, I fully understand that. And you can see how that part of the line's kind of surged out ahead of this one. I'll put things in motion for the last hour. Yeah, it's just kind of surging up there north of the front. It's kind of lagging back here to the south of that front, which again, I'll just pull up the dew point again because now on this bigger view, we'll be able to see it a little bit better. So high-res dew points, yeah, you can see. I mean, it's let me take off this is kind of messing with the colors. Okay. So down here, southern Sabine Parish, and then down into Vernon Parish, we're talking dew points around 70, Natchitoches 60, Alexandria, we're back up to 63, so it looks like things are increasing a little bit, and I'll show you here. I'll just kind of toggle that over the last hour, and you can see that line as it moves in. These storms down here are moving into a much richer, more unstable air mass up to the north. Yes, you can still see severe weather. We're still seeing a tornado warning ongoing with this one, but I think it's going to be tough to get a circulation down to the ground, given that it's a little bit cooler like that. Oops, got to take that off. Okay, let me check the comments. I'm looking for something to talk about. Oh, thank you, Monique. I appreciate you. Gina and Allah, down the line, I think you'll get some storms later this evening, but as this thing moves further east, it should be losing a little bit of steam. So individual towns, again, I think and this is going to be weird, but your highest threat for any sort of like tornadic cell, which again, it's a pretty low threat. That's going to be right down here because you're probably going to see that warm front come through. It's a very low threat when I don't think I'm circling you and oh my gosh, we have a tornado coming, because this is where we have more surface-based instability. Up here where there's a ton of storm action, the instability is more elevated. So I think we're probably going to see a lower threat for tornadoes up there, though I am still watching this one because we have that warning going on there with that system. So yeah, it looks crazy on radar up here, but the higher threat for tornadoes would be if we get a storm to pop down in the central part of the state, down in I mean, Vernon, Rapides, western of Oils, northwestern of Evangeline, parts of Allen, Beauregard Parish. Now, that being said, you have the highest chance, but it's still very low, and I think your rainfall totals are going to be pretty light because it looks like those storms are scattered down that way. It's put in motion over the last hour. The storm, the actual system up there in Natchitoches Parish, yes, that looks like the trend has been toward that one weakening a bit, so I'm not as concerned. I'm going to go look at, this is the Shreveport radar here, so I kind of flip between them. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Let me take a look at this. Yeah, that's again right near the camera side. I wish I'd pull up, but it's just so foggy and misty out there, and the focus is kind of weird. This is why they still have that tornado warning going west of Campty. You can see it looks pretty peaked, though. We're not seeing a real strong rotation signature right there. And I'm sorry the beeping's happening. My wife's cooking something, and it's and she's out in the I think she's out in our back building doing something. I could stand up and do it, but for now I'm going to let it ride, and we'll see if she shows back up. But this is the storm that has prompted the tornado warning. You can see why it did. It looked like we really, I mean, for a couple of scans here, and I'm going to go back to that. This is when you'll see when they issue it, right there. I mean, that's right before they're issuing it. That's what. That could have been something that briefly did touch down, and there's your warning right there. And you can see back then we had like red, green, boom, boom from one pixel to the next. So we got this one, 17 miles an hour one way, the other 50, so 73 miles an hour of rotation at about 2,500 feet above ground level. So now we go further down the line, and it just looks kind of like, it's the red and green coming together, but it's not as tight as that. It's not pixel to pixel type stuff. So I think the tornado threat is really dropping right there. So Sabine Parish getting rough. What part you in? Because it looks like it's pretty loud and stuff, but these storms are starting to look pretty junky to me. This tornado warning goes until 9:45. I'd be surprised if it makes it that far. This severe thunderstorm warning goes until 9:30, and we'll see if they issue beyond that in the next few minutes. So that would possibly happen. But these storms out ahead, the good news is they're not getting going, and that was what I was really concerned with. And it happens every once in a while, but in this case, it did not. So good to see that these showers have just been producing some rainfall for some areas. Let's look at rainfall totals and see where we have the heavier rain going right now. See, over the last, I'll go 12 hours. So heavier rain to the north. This was expected out of this system. And again, if you miss out on a lot of the rain out of this one, you're going to get plenty It looks like toward the weekend, especially Sunday into Monday, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday of next week. But parts of LaSalle Parish, maybe half an inch to an inch. Here in Alexandria, we've had 0.15, but up toward Shreveport, flood warnings with 3+ inches of rainfall. And then down into Sabine Parish, looks like an inch or more. And again, if I just pull the radar up, you still have that line coming through. So we're still going to see a lot more rainfall out of this. And we still have that tornado warning going for areas of northwestern Natchitoches Parish, moving into Campty right now. Velocity data is I'm not seeing much. There's a little something going on. This is closer in. This is we're looking at 3,500 feet above ground level, and they are typing an update now. So hopefully they'll say, "Hey, oh, all right." I'm not gonna blow the surprise. I am gonna blow the surprise. They're gonna cancel this. So that warning is about to go away. I am excited for that. And then they did not issue a warning on this southern end, and what I'd love to see is no new warning on this, but I kind of think we're going to see that happen. I think we're going to maybe see an extension of that warning, and then I'm watching this area crossing over Toledo Bend. I'm going to look and see if I caught any wind gusts out of that. Let's see, wind. Looks like I might have gusted up to 53. Let me look at the timing on that. Make sure it's good data. Cameras. Kristen, dinner's ready. I'm a smart aleck. She's back now. Okay. That camera's looking kind of funky. All right, let's see. Yeah, wind gust 53. I don't know if I guess that is lightning out there. A lot of lightning. Yeah, we had a 53 mile per hour gust. That was at 8:24 p.m. So that was a while back. That was actually that was the initial cell. Out of this one, we only got 17. So at least that's what we're seeing on this right now. So that's good. We did have a significant gust there earlier. Natchitoches, looking at the currents, it's still, the dew point's still pretty low there, so that's going to keep that surface-based instability low, and that's why we saw that tornado warning go away. So good news. So tornado warning canceled. Alexandria, dew points are up to 63, 64 now, so that front is pushing back to the north. So that means we're going to have a narrow window of a few hours of severe threat here, and of course I will jump back on when needed, because let's see, they're removing some Texas counties from the tornado watch. But it's going to be continuing for our area. So I'll hop back on here in a bit. Since we have no active tornado warning, I'm going to go see what she made for dinner because it's late and I'm hungry. I will see you back here as needed.
No matter the weather, Alexandria Emergency Hospital is always here for you. Rain or shine, our doors are open 24/7 to provide the care you and your loved ones need fast. Every second counts, and Alexandria Emergency Hospital